Welcome back to the Talk Yours podcast, and today we're going to be covering our Western Conference predictions for the upcoming season. Don't want to waste too much time talking. You guys know the West. It is the more competitive conference. It's the deeper conference. It's the better conference, and there's a lot to talk about from 15 all through 1. I think a lot of these teams could be put almost anywhere when you really look at it, except for a couple. There's a couple that belong where they're supposed to go, but for the most part, there's a lot of unknowns in the West, and there's a lot of talent in the West, and you just never know how it's going to shake out. So I think, we're going to start with 15. We're going to go up to 1, and let's get it started. So
right.
at number 15, I have the Utah Jazz.
I have the Utah Jazz. I think this is the one where, honestly, I could see them maybe going up a couple seeds, but there's no shot they make the play-in. Like 0% chance.
No.
So they traded a lot of their veterans, Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, and in return they got some other veterans who hopefully will not get playing time, as in Kevin Love. They got Yusuf Nurkic. They got just a bunch of Georges Niang might even be the best of them. They got Kyle Anderson.
Georges Niang might be the most Utah player to ever play for the Jazz.
Oh, he's already played for the Jazz before. And
He did actually. Yeah,
he did.
Welcome back.
That's why we're saying that.
Welcome
the
back
minivan. Hawks legend.
Yeah.
The Utah Jazz are going to be bad, but that's okay. They just drafted Ace Bailey. They got Walter Clayton. They still have guys like Isaiah Collier. Cody Williams hopefully will have a better sophomore season because that rookie season was absolutely brutal. Taylor Hendricks is coming back from a year-long, it was an ACL, right? But it was some sort of injury.
I almost want to say it was
It might have been.
Did he break a bone in his leg?
Oh,
was it a broken fibula?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. So hopefully he's going to be back and better because his rookie season was pretty promising, and his play at UCF, I believe. And they have a couple other guys. Bryce Sensabaugh was really good.
Kyle Filipowski, even we know Walker Kessler is good for what he is as a center, but Kyle Filipowski looked good this past season, and I think it might be a big reason why the Jazz are willing to potentially move on from Kessler.
They want to move on from Kessler, but they're asking for like 2 or 3 first-round picks for him. So I really don't apparently they're gonna keep him this season, but they don't plan on re-signing him if they don't trade him, which is interesting.
But I'd imagine because he's a restricted free agent in the offseason that they'll sign and trade, or try to. Although we saw how that went for the Warriors.
I definitely wouldn't want to rely on that. And then the only name we haven't said is Larry Markkinen. The only reason that maybe this team isn't a 15 seed because last year was pretty bad, but the couple years before that, he was an all-star type player. I still think that if he was traded to a contender, he'd be a really good surrounding piece. And overall, I mean, it was just kind of one bad season where his 3-point shot wasn't landing. He also was hurt, and he's playing for the Utah Jazz, who are trying to tank. They did get Ace Bailey, who was a steal at 5, but maybe they're going to try and tank again for AJ Dybonsta. I mean, Danny Ainge is close to BYU.
Playing at BYU, you know what I mean? But Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, has put a lot of money into BYU
and him and
athletics.
Danny Ainge are close friends.
Yep, Danny. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens. I think as someone who lives in Utah, who's not necessarily a Jazz fan, it'll be a fun team to watch just because there's so many young players and you really don't know what they're going to do. If the Jazz are smart, though, I think you have to just make room for these young guys and probably trade away Lowry and maybe Walker Kessler. I actually don't. 2 to 3 first sounds crazy for Walker Kessler, but you think about how many good centers there actually are in the NBA at Walker Kessler's. Like, he's probably a borderline top 10 center. Like, you know what I mean? And
I'd give him top 15, but he's young.
He's young. I mean, it's kind of, and he doesn't do a ton, but if you are a team that already has scorers, and you already have perimeter defenders and all you need is a guy to grab boards and play good defense at the rim, then Walker Kessler is your guy. As for Larry Markkinen, I honestly would love to see him on a team like the Cavs at some point this year if they had the resources to be able to trade for him. I don't know if they do, but just a team where he can be like the third offensive option. Because I think that's where he's going to thrive.
I mean, we're going to talk about them later, but I'd like to see him on a team like the OKC Thunder. The fact that the Thunder made no moves just kind of pisses me off, even though they won the championship. And Larry Markkinen would fit really well with that team.
Yeah. Moving on to the number 14 team, I think this is where we'll start disagreeing. I personally have the Sacramento Kings here.
Okay.
I want to hear who you have.
I have the Phoenix Suns. So,
really? Yeah.
Sacramento Kings at 14. Man, 2 years ago, they were the 3 seed. They still have a lot of those players intact outside. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Like, it was a different team. It was a different team. I mean, you had Harrison Barnes. You had Keegan Murray playing better than I would
better.
say he
They
has
still have
been.
Keegan Murray, but
I mean, Keegan Murray, when he like that season, he looked like he was going to be, you know, an all-time level shooting talent. He broke the record for most three-pointers in a rookie season.
Yeah.
And then he just hasn't. He's been he's suffered the Duncan Robinson kind of path, which is like really good start, but when you're just a shooter, you don't really elevate after that start. You kind of just stay where you're at. And I think a lot of Kings fans expected him to elevate to that next level.
Especially as a defender, and it hasn't really been there.
2 years ago, you had De'Aaron Fox, which I know you have, you know, DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine now, and Malik Monk is coming into his own. But De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis worked really well together as a pairing on that team. If not playing off of each other, then at least it's a 1-2 punch. And I don't.
You don't like LaVine and Sabonis? That's a good. Okay, say what you want about the Kings, but Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan were never the 14th seed in the East. And I understand they're two different conferences, but I mean, a 14 seed. Are you saying they're gonna win less than 30 games?
Yeah, I think they will win less than 30 games
with like. And I'm not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna use this term very loosely, but 3 all-star caliber players. Zach LaVine is an all-star caliber player. DeMar DeRozan, not, I'm not going to say as boring because the mid-range game a lot of people like, but as flatlined as his game has been, I mean, he's been the same player the last like 5 years. He is still like one of the clutchest players in the NBA. Sabonis is, honestly, I think plays off of them pretty well because he doesn't need to score the ball to be efficient. And he does the dribble handoffs with LaVine, who's one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA. Overall, I think this team is still a top 10 offense.
Sure.
And a top 10 offense will not get you the 14 seed. I think
their defense absolutely reeks. They might have.
I don't think that matters though.
I think it matters.
I mean, it matters in terms of getting into the play-in.
The other thing that matters a lot is looking at the organizational dysfunction, which we talked a little bit about last year. But the fact that Jeremy Lamb at some point was making decisions while on the team surrounding the team's roster because he was dating the owner's daughter is a little bit insane. And
it's a little insane.
And then you look at what they were trying to do. They were trying to trade Malik Monk all offseason. And I mean, I know it's a business and these players do what they do, but that's got to affect stuff a little bit. And also, if the Kings aren't competitive by the midway point of the season, I really do see them trying to blow it up and get rid of these guys for whatever value they can get for them. Because if they're like an 11 seed or something, even by the midway point of the season, do you really continue to fight for the 10 seed?
Because 11 seed is close to that 10 seed. I mean, it really is. Maybe if they were really bad and they were 13, 14, 15.
I just don't think in the West, Do
we even know for sure they have their own pick? I actually don't know.
I have no idea, honestly.
But overall, they got Dennis Schroeder, who, I mean, Eurobasket MVP? And I know you love.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention it every time. Yeah. You love your international hoops. But no, look, Dennis Schroeder, though, was a very big piece for the Detroit Pistons. He is going to flatline you as he's going to get you some wins. I mean, him with the Nets last season before he was traded to the Pistons had the Nets at like 11 and 13. And the Nets ended probably with less than 20 wins.
He was on the Warriors at some point last year, wasn't he? Or was that the year before?
That might have been the year before. Unless the Nets was the year before.
I'm not
sure the Nets was this season.
He's been on every team in the NBA, I'm pretty sure. It feels like it. But
on both our teams, yeah.
Dennis Schroeder is a guy who works really well on specific teams and doesn't work well at all on other teams.
And he's going to work well with the Kings because they have enough scoring. They don't need more scoring.
Right.
Dennis Schroeder is going to be kind of everything else.
I genuinely think he works better on a team where there is less scoring as a contributor to the offense, because I saw him on the Warriors and they tried to turn him into a catch and shoot player and he was not able to do that. And there's only one ball. So on a court with Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis, where is Dennis Schroeder getting the ball in situations where he can make the best use of his talent, which is as an isolation player? He's not. And as a catch and shoot player, he's below average.
He's going to be coming off the bench, so he's not playing with all of them.
He's going to be playing with some of them. I can't imagine all 4 of those guys are off the court at the same time.
But also, I think Zach LaVine he's a great scorer with the ball, but Zach LaVine is a catch and shoot guy. Malik Monk can be a catch and shoot guy. All of those guys can space besides DeRozan.
Can be, sure. I just don't believe
They also got Keon Ellis. They have, if you still believe in Devin Carter, who... Yeah. He wasn't great, but he also suffered a big injury to start. Like, I don't think he played his first 50 games of his rookie season. They have, I'm trying to think, who did they replace Laravia with? Who's their backup center, actually? I don't know as much about the Kings as I
That's
thought.
the other thing about the Kings is like Domantas Sabonis is not a good defensive center. He's a great offensive center, but they don't have a good interior defender on their team, I'm pretty sure.
I personally believe they'll have a top 10 offense, and I don't know how many teams have
Drew
had a top 10
Eubanks.
offense. Drew Eubanks. Oh yeah, they have Nick Clifford, who is a rookie. He is an old rookie. He's like 23 years old, but hopefully he can help them. Isaac Jones, Doug McDermott. It's okay. It's not great, but that starting five is. I mean, you talk about talent. We talk about these next couple teams that I'm going to talk about. The Kings have more talent than them, and I'm going to start with the Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
I have them at 14. I still believe in Devin Booker. I think he is arguably. He is the second best shooting guard in the league, outside of Anthony Edwards, and just everyone else kind of sucks. I kind of like their center rotation, and I like Mark Williams, even though we don't know how much he's going to play. Their backup big, I guess you can say, is Nick Richards. So they're kind of just the Hornets, but with
They
Devin
have
Booker
Mark Williams and
Melo.
Malawach.
They have Malawach. I don't know how good Malawach is going to be in his rookie season, though. I mean, I think he showed a lot of good flashes at Duke, and I think he's a project kind of guy where he's going to take a couple years. I mean, he only started playing basketball probably like 5 years ago.
But I mean, he's a 7-foot athletic center. That coming off your bench is a pretty good.
I mean, we have to make sure he actually has the touch. Because we don't know how good his touch is yet. He had games last year where he only had like 1 or 2 rebounds in March Madness, which is pretty concerning for an NBA center. And I think he will be like long term. I think he's a top 5 guy in this class. I really do. But like when it comes to rookie year, he might put up numbers, but I don't think it'll contribute to winning basketball. I think it's hard to be a center in the NBA. That makes an impact immediately. And I think there are exceptional guys like Walker Kessler and Wembanyama. They're not in the same tier, don't get me wrong. But like Walker Kessler was actually really good in his rookie season. I just don't believe Malawach to be that kind of guy. But they do have a couple good pieces. Jalen Green, but they have Dylan Brooks. I'm actually a big Dylan Brooks guy. He was one of the reasons the Rockets won so many games. But every wing outside of them, I mean, Ryan Dunn. What do they still have? Royce O'Neal? I don't even know. Grayson Allen.
That's a good question.
Their backup point guard.
I'll find their off-season moves real quick.
But I also think that they're kind of leaning in that direction of a rebuild. I believe they do have their pick. I think that's what was one of the trades they made. Or maybe they did. But either way, I just don't think they have the talent to win games. I think when you talk about talent, you have Devin Booker, and maybe you can say Jalen Green is talented, but he hasn't shown it, and it's been 4 entire years of his career. Maybe 5. Maybe 5. I forget. Or maybe this is his 5th year.
I mean,
Jalen Green is known for a guy who is exceptional for 10 games. And then the other 72 games of the NBA season, which by the way, if you didn't know, Jalen Green plays like every single game in the regular season. Like I didn't know that. He's not I never really think about him as an Iron Man like Mikal Bridges, but he kind of is. So that definitely helps his case, but also at the same time, he hasn't been good.
They do still have Royce O'Neal. That took me way too long to find, but yeah, they do still have Royce O'Neal.
And then they have like the random bigs on the roster, like Oso Ighodaro, who I think is all right, but now you have these 3 other centers. I mean,
so he's not going to get much run.
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying, and I'll get to the Suns later.
Talk about the Kings versus the Suns, and talent-wise, the Kings are just way better.
But sometimes less is more. Sometimes you just throw all these guys together on a team, and there's so much talent, and it just doesn't work together. And there wasn't much I saw from the Kings that worked together with these guys on the court.
How about the 3-year sample size of DeRozan and Levine playing together and never being that bad?
I mean, yeah,
also,
sure, but
Kings were
they're 3 years older now. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, there's a 3-year sample size, there's whatever, but they're older now. I mean, DeMar DeRozan is what, 35 years old,
but Levine's probably like 30.
Yeah,
like
30,
Levine's
but
still in his prime.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say it's going to have a huge impact on him because we've seen guys come back from it well, but he did tear his Achilles, or was it his ACL?
How long ago was that?
I mean, it was early in his career, but you'd have to imagine over a course of time, even though that injury has happened and he bounced back from it well, it still would affect him to a degree in terms of his longevity.
Maybe. I'd say Paul George's big knee injury in the Olympics, like just hit him, like just this year. So I think Levine, because he's had, pretty good medical procedures, he's back to what he was before. I think he still has a couple more years so that decline really hits. Yeah. And also now his game really isn't built on his athleticism. Like he is I think he is a top 7 or 8. I was going to say the other. He's a top 7 or 8 3-point shooter in the league. So I don't know. I just think I understand that sometimes less is more. I fully agree with that. However, I believe that's the case when it comes to like championship teams versus teams that are right under. When it comes to the 14 seed, most 14 seeds don't have much talent, and that's how I feel about the Phoenix Suns.
Well, I mean, fair enough. I'll get to my points on them later. And to be honest with you, I mean, with your talent perspective, I wouldn't have the Sacramento Kings this low, but I also don't believe in their organization, and I don't believe in like the players' trust in the organization, and I do believe that this will be the year that you see a lot of those guys end up on different teams.
I will say, though, a couple of these guys, you talk about Dennis Schroeder, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, they've been around the league. Their trust in an organization means nothing now. You know what I mean?
Probably.
Like, maybe you want to talk about a guy like Malik Monk. Even Malik Monk was just not treated too fairly with the Hornets. Sabonis with like the Pacers and the Thunder and the Magic. Like, a lot of these players have moved around, and I don't think belief in the organization will affect too many things. Unless it's a guy like Keegan Murray or.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. We have spent far too long on these bottom two teams. But we're also talking about other teams, so we'll get through it. Number 13, I doubt you'll have them in this spot either, but I'm not very high on them. I've got the Dallas Mavericks.
What? Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't think you'll like mine then, because you must have them as a playoff team or play-in team.
So who do you
I have the Memphis Grizzlies at the 13th seed.
I'm not terribly mad at that because of where I have them, but that is a little surprising to me.
That's crazy. Explain why the Mavericks would be so bad.
Because why would they be good is my question. Everyone is always is just like praising the Mavericks and saying, wow, their roster looks really good and all this stuff. Anthony Davis is a guarantee to miss time during the year, right? That we just know that about him. He is a guarantee to miss time, and the severity of which we don't know given year to year. We don't know how he's going to look when he comes back. And given the fact that he's older now, we don't know how severe the injury is going to be, even if it isn't like an ACL tear or something like that, even if it is just the perpetual knee injuries he's had. And he's a phenomenal player when he's on the court. I'm not saying that, but we saw how this exact team looked last year with no Anthony Davis and no Kyrie Irving. Now, Cooper Flagg is obviously the number one pick for a reason, right? But this roster is predicated still because they've basically retained the exact same roster around Luka Doncic. This roster was built around Luka Doncic with Luka Doncic in mind. Cooper Flagg is not a Luka Doncic type player. This roster was built with a facilitator in mind, an extremely ball-dominant player. Cooper Flagg right now at this stage in his career is not that ball-dominant player. In fact, he probably operates better as an off-ball wing who's going to work primarily off of back cuts and maybe post-ups against smaller players, right? So who do you have faith in outside of Anthony Davis? Is it D'Angelo Russell? Is it Klay Thompson? I mean, Klay Thompson, obviously, I'm a Warriors fan. I love Klay Thompson, but the fact of the matter is the last couple years, he has not been anywhere close to who he was in his prime. So basically you're saying that if Anthony Davis gets hurt, which he's almost certainly going to, that you believe in Cooper Flagg enough for this team to be a top, 10, 8 team in the Western Conference? I just don't see that. They were bad last year after they got rid of Luka. And then Anthony Davis looked good in the game that he played and then immediately got hurt. Like, it's just, there's not much that I look at with that roster and say, as constructed, without Anthony Davis, this roster works in any way, shape, or form. I think they're one of the worst constructed rosters in the league when Anthony Davis is hurt.
One of the worst constructed rosters. So they have D'Angelo Russell, they have Klay Thompson, they have Cooper Flagg, they have PJ Washington, who they just extended. Mm-hmm. They have Anthony Davis. Now you're saying Anthony Davis will get hurt and who's going to replace him, but AD's not guaranteed to miss 40 games. He's not Joel Embiid. He's not one of these other guys. I have belief that he can play 60, 65. Now that's still missing 20 games. And how many of those 20 games are the Mavericks going to win without AD? I don't know. You kind of want to hope that those last 20 games are in the latter of the season where hopefully Kyrie Irving is back. I've heard some sources say Kyrie's planning on returning near the end of the season. And I've heard some say Kyrie's planning on, not playing the rest. I think it kind of depends on how much they're winning. Like if they're winning a ton, maybe Kyrie comes back a little early.
Personally, for a guy like Kyrie Irving who relies so much on his quick trigger, I don't think he should come back this year. I think he should give himself the full year
and maybe
to
he shouldn't, but
wait.
But if they have playoff aspirations, then maybe he might just rush it.
Then maybe, yeah.
Overall, I love their 9 through 10. I mean, off the bench, they have Dante Exum, who, I mean, he's all right, but they have like Najee Marshall, who I think is really good, improved himself. Once he left New Orleans and in Dallas last season, he was pretty, like, he might have been like 38, 39% from three, and he is a hustle guy. He will hustle. They have Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively still as the center duo, so AD's going to be playing more of the four, so hopefully AD won't be getting hurt as much. I mean, in the media day, he said that that's the plan, for him not to play any center minutes. And overall, you're saying this is built for a guy with a, like Luka, who can handle the ball and pass and all that. But this roster was also built for AD. I mean, yeah, having that kind of center duo, having a ball dominant guard in D'Lo. You want to argue how good D'Lo is? I'm not here to do it because I'm not like the biggest D'Lo guy.
We've seen Anthony Davis play with D'Lo before.
And they made the playoffs.
And it worked good at times and it worked really bad at times.
But they were still
they had LeBron James.
They had LeBron James, but now they have Cooper Flag. So let me tell you about Cooper Flag. I am a true believer that from day one, he will be like probably the only rookie in this class that will impact winning basketball. Like he will actually win the Mavericks games. And then just overall, they do have a bunch of depth. Now, if D'Lo gets hurt, I don't really know who's going to handle the ball. Some people are saying it'll be Ryan Nembhard. I kind of want to look at their depth chart real quick and see. But
is that?
Does
Andrew Nembhard have a brother?
Yeah. Huh. Oh, he's been Gonzaga's point guard for like 4 years. So he's like it's not like some big, he wasn't in the first round or anything.
I'm bad at paying attention to college basketball.
But he's always been like in college like a 9-10 assist guy. So he is a passer. Now, he's not much of a scorer. He's not much defending. He's not as good as his brother. But he was pretty good in college at least.
I get that. And if Cooper Flag is good, then my prediction falls to shit because obviously then Cooper Flag is good and everything I said just goes out the window. But we're relying on a guy who's never played an NBA minute to be their second option.
They also have Max Christie and they have Caleb Martin, which hopefully Caleb Martin can bring back some of that Heat magic.
Yeah, but he's not on the Heat anymore. I mean, we've seen lots of guys who have left the Heat and just not, done anything close to what they did there.
I just kind of want to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because he did miss the first half of the season last year due to an injury, which kind of sucks. Well, not kind of sucks. It sucks.
Kendrick Nunn, Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin.
Yeah. So overall, I think they have they have Mavericks legend still, Dwight Powell. Man, that guy has been on the Mavericks for so
long. How did he stay on the Mavericks longer than Luka?
I don't know because, dude, they're going to have to. He's going to be the Nick Collison of the Mavericks where you got to retire that jersey.
You know what? That's the other thing, too. Nico Harrison doesn't deserve good things. The Mavericks shouldn't be allowed to win until Nico Harrison is removed as the GM of the Mavericks or until those majority owners are removed as the owners of the Mavericks.
Well, they shouldn't have been allowed to.
One of the two of them, huh?
They shouldn't have been allowed to get Cooper Flag.
No, that's the problem. No. I mean, I don't. In my moral heart of hearts, don't believe that the Mavericks should be good this year. Now they probably will be if Cooper Flag is good, but I think the timing of the Anthony Davis injury also impacts that a lot. If Anthony Davis gets hurt early in the season, I feel like it's way worse for Cooper Flag than if he gets hurt late in the season. Because if Cooper Flag has to take on the number one option role at the start of the year, right? When he's already, I mean, I don't know that a lot of guys come into the NBA with a target on their back as rookies. I think Cooper Flag is one of those guys. I feel like players in the NBA are competitors, and they've been hearing about this guy for 3-4 years since he was in high school, talking about playing with Team USA and I know we've heard the guys on Team USA say good things about it. Like LeBron said good things about him and praised him, and other guys that scrimmaged with him have. But at the end of the day, you're telling me a guy comes into the league and everyone is saying off rip he's better than you as an NBA player. You're not going to take some offense to that and go, hey, I want to prove something. You're telling me this rookie, this 19-year-old kid who still has acne on his face is better than me. And that's no slight to him. He just looks young. I feel like in a league where so many guys are about their image, is going to incentivize guys to want to go at him, which is why I say if Anthony Davis gets hurt early in the year and he's got to be the number one option, I think he's going to have a rough go of it for a bit.
Honestly, I don't really agree because I think, okay, so who are the most infamous guys who had a target on their back the second they got into the NBA? One I say would be Wemby because centers have an ego where they want to block any center that comes at them. So you'll see, they want to dunk on any center who comes at them. So I think a lot of Wemby's blocks in his rookie season were inflated because every center just tried to dunk on him. And it was the easiest block ever. Yeah. He had a target. Who else had a target? Lonzo Ball, because he was actually talking trash. Or he wasn't, sorry.
It was his dad.
LeVar Ball was talking trash. So guys like Pat Bev kind of had an ego with that, especially guards. Guards have an ego.
I mean, LaMelo
I
had
think
a
the thing is
target.
with forwards don't have too much of an ego. Like guards or centers do, and Cooper Flag hasn't said anything terrible. Like he hasn't like talked trash saying he's the best player in the world or anything. I don't think honestly. I think a lot of NBA players really respect Cooper Flag, just because of how like he went into the Olympics and well apparently he like beat Bradley Beal in a 1v1. I think that wasn't recorded or anything, but Bradley Beal said that himself or someone close to him. And then like in the Olympic scrimmages, like he was actually dunking on people, holding his own. I think it's going to lean more on the respect side, but he might have a couple people who get a little jealous. But
anyway, you got Memphis. So
Memphis.
I'll let you run with that for a minute.
Overall, John Morant is already hurt. Jaren Jackson Jr. is already hurt. Brandon Clark is already hurt. Zach Edey is already hurt. This team is banged up. I even think not banged up. Desmond Bane was such a huge piece of this team when it came to offense that I don't really know offensively besides John Morant who is really good on this team. Jaren Jackson Jr. did have a really good season last year offensively, but I think that was kind of his peak. I don't think he'll have a better season than that. And then you have a bunch of guys who are ready to prove it. I just don't know how many of them are going to take that step into being like a third scoring option. I mean, you have like Gigi Jackson, you have Jalen Wells, you have Santi Aldama, who might actually have to be the starting center for the Grizzlies because every other Grizzlies center is hurt. And so I don't even know who the backup will be. They lost Jay Huff. I kind of want to see the depth chart right now.
I'm looking at it right now.
But talent, again, I am a firm believer that, yes, sometimes less is more when it comes to the top teams. But the bottom teams, it's all about how talentless they are. Which is why I had the Phoenix Suns, and which is why I have the Grizzlies. They have a bunch of gritty guys, don't get me wrong, but it's just not talented guys. I don't think they'll even be they might not even be a top 20 offense.
Now, I mean, just to comment on that, I agree with that philosophy in the East. But when you get to the Western Conference, nearly every team believes they have a chance to make the playoffs. I mean, we're talking about 14 through 1, all think they have a chance to make the playoffs.
They do.
Right? The Utah Jazz are probably the only team in the West that's like, playoffs, wouldn't that be great? So when you talk about that talent disparity, I think that shows itself more in teams who are really just kind of flying by the seat of their pants. They're like, yeah, if the talent carries us there, it does. If it doesn't, well, we don't really have like a plan in place because we don't really believe we're a playoff team at the end of the day when you're talking about the front office, right? But with the West, every single one of these rosters is constructed with playoffs in mind, right? I think every single one of these rosters has been made to some degree with playoffs in mind, which is why talent and that pure talent disparity doesn't matter as much in the West.
You have to make the playoffs.
You do have to make the playoffs. That's true.
The talent of how well it's going to translate doesn't matter if you don't make it. And I don't think this team has the talent to.
I'm saying game planning matters more for the bottom teams in the West than it does for the teams in the East, right? And continuity matters more for bottom teams in the West than it does for teams in the East.
And how much continuity do the Grizzlies have?
I mean, they have a good amount. They obviously lost Desmond Bane. I'll get more on the Grizzlies later, or we can just kind of go on them now because whatever.
Five of their first 10 players are new.
I mean, okay.
By the way, okay, I will say Ty Jerome was a good pickup. If the Grizzlies make the playoffs, I don't even mean the play-in. If they make the playoffs, it's because Ty Jerome won Most Improved Player.
Yeah.
Which he easily can.
Would he win Most Improved Player after last year?
He played less than 20 minutes per game last year.
I guess he did, but he was like second and sixth man of the year.
He literally did not qualify for the award because of how little he played.
That's true.
So if he plays more minutes and is just as good, I mean, his stats will go 1.5x. That's going to be like 20 points per game.
We know John Morant. We know Jaren Jackson Jr. Zach Edey, if he can develop, and even if he can't, was a solid center. He's obviously a bit of a cone.
It's a 7'4" guy with a foot injury. He's already going to be out the first 2 months. Now, do you really think he's going to even be playing back-to-backs this season? No, he will not be.
So then we'll throw that out the window. Santi Aldama is still a good, serviceable, 4 or 5.
But is he a 5?
He's probably more of a 4. You probably got to put Jaren Jackson at the 5, and then that leaves some rebounding questions. I think Vince Williams Jr. is a talented player. I think Scottie Pippen Jr. is a talented player. Jalen Wells obviously showed us what he can do as a rookie last year. KCP is a guy who he can fit him into any team in the NBA, and he'll be good. Right?
He's not good last season.
I guess, yeah.
And but that's on a team that really needed his shooting. They don't need shooting. They need a shooter.
Okay, but KCP works well on teams that don't like. If Jalen Suggs was healthy for the Magic last year,
then they're probably if the Magic were healthy. Because the Grizzlies are so healthy, huh? No, the Grizzlies are already hurt. They're already banged up. It's not even a matter of they will get hurt. They are hurt.
You don't know how many. I mean, a lot of these guys are probably going to be ready by opening night.
I don't think so. There's a chance John Morant is ready. I don't think Jaren will be ready. Zach Edey definitely won't be. Brendan Clark definitely won't be. So the center rotation definitely won't be.
And also, it's an 82-game season. Even if they're up for the first couple weeks, there's still a lot
But
of
in a
ground to
West
make
where
up.
1 through 14 is competing.
Right, but I think...
So the fact that you have the Mavericks higher because you're projecting an Anthony Davis injury, this team is
No,
already
I'm
hurt.
projecting that the roster sucks for the Mavericks. I don't think the roster is good as constructed, and I also don't think Nico Harrison deserves good things. I think karma will find its way to the Dallas Mavericks somehow, because it certainly hasn't yet.
Yeah, the bias is crazy. Because that's what you're saying. You're saying they don't deserve to be good.
No, they don't.
Okay, well, we can talk about... I mean, yeah. At number 12, I do have... Or no, is it 13 we're on?
We're on 12.
No, we're on 12. I have the Portland Trailblazers.
Great. I have the Portland Trailblazers too.
Okay.
A nice little moment of peace.
It really sucks that Scoot Henderson's already hurt. And he's going to be out the first, I think, month and a half.
Yeah.
Especially as a guy who's really, not only hasn't totally proved it. Like, people still look at him as a bad player, and I can't blame him for that. But his game is predicated. Thank you. On athleticism. So him already being hurt, yeah, that's terrible. But overall, this roster has a lot of potential, but I don't think it's potential to make the play-in or the playoffs. Unfortunately, the other teams are just better. But they added Drew Holiday, who's a great defender. One thing that really weirded me out is Denny Avdia came off the bench in preseason yesterday, and I see Denny Avdia as their best player. So I don't know if that was just some random like Denny didn't want to play too much. Bless you.
Thank you.
But that was weird because I do see him as their best player. But yeah, hopefully a guy like Shaedon Sharp can take a jump. Donovan Clingan will be the full-time starting center now, which is great. At least hopefully he will be.
No, that is
Unless
weird.
it's Hansen Yang.
For me, I'm like, just give it a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just give it a year. Dame will be healthy next year. Hopefully, these guys will get more of a chance to develop.
I mean, they won mid-30s games last year. If they do the same thing, then that's fine.
That's fine. Like, I feel like they'll be a competitive team. I
Yeah.
feel like they'll be a tough matchup for other teams in the West.
Just be competitive and
you know,
give yourself a chance
Tumani-
at one of those top guys. In the
Tumani Kamara is like one of those guys already in the NBA who, if you know you're playing the Trailblazers and you're playing the power forward or the wing position, you don't want to have to match up against him offensively and try to go score on him. So they have a lot of good pieces. It's just a matter of...
I mean, defensively,
it's kind
they're
of like,
top 10.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Jazz situation a little bit, where it's just like so many young guys. Where do they all fit? What are their roles? Who do we keep? Who do we try to get rid of for more value?
But their young guys are just better than the Jazz's young guys. By
Exactly.
a mile.
Exactly. Which is why they're easily going to win, in my opinion, 30 games, whereas the Jazz might struggle to win 20.
Yeah. So, I mean, Portland Trail, 12 seeds pretty bad, but that's still like you're heading in the right direction.
Yeah. All right. Number 11. I want to hear who you have first.
I have the Sacramento Kings. So
Okay.
I have them just outside of the play-in.
Yeah, we already talked about them.
Yeah.
I have the Los Angeles Clippers.
Whoa. Oh, okay. This
Yeah.
might be like the largest gap we have then.
It might be.
So, does this ranking have to do with Kawhi Leonard?
Mm-hmm. Of course it does.
So, did you know that apparently it's been like Adam Silver said that there will be no sort of consequence through the All-Star break for the Clippers and
Great.
Kawhi Leonard?
So
Do you
Adam,
think even with that being said?
so Adam Silver's a pussy. Number one.
Oh, he is. No, yeah.
Number two. I like Kawhi Leonard as a player a lot, but he can't stay healthy to save his life. I mean, he really can't.
But I don't think this roster is I'm not going to say that.
Predicated?
Predicated.
You'll get there. More practice.
I need to say it more. I don't think this roster is predicated on Kawhi Leonard. They have a lot of talent on this team. I mean, you talk about 1 through 10. James Harden.
Listen, James Harden. I have a hard time judging his regular season last year because counting numbers wise, it was good in some aspects, but really bad in others. I mean, he shot like 40% from the field. He had like bottom 3 field goal percentage among qualified shooters.
No, he wasn't efficient.
And I just I look at the Clippers. They have one of the oldest rosters in the NBA. They didn't get any younger over the past offseason. They have guys who have suffered injuries in the past. They got was it John Collins? Or
They got John Collins.
So
Let me tell you their 1 through 10, because I think their 1 through 10 is really stacked. They have James Harden at the 1, Beal at the 2, Kawhi at the 3, John Collins at the 4, Zubac at the 5. For their backups, Chris Paul at the 1, Chris Dunn at the 2. Two Chris's. Derek Jones Jr. at the 3. Batum at the 4. Brook Lopez at the 5. And then as their 11th man, which I don't believe in him being actually their 11th man, but Bogdan Bogdanovic. That is 1 through 11 a really good roster.
Sure. I mean, it sounds good on paper.
And I think you take out Kawhi Leonard, and obviously it hurts the team, but then you just add in Bogdan at the 3, and this team is just it's just talent. James Harden is going to take this team to the playoffs.
But
so you have James Harden.
Why are you saying?
When was the last time James Harden missed the play-in? Ever?
He's old.
But he's still
Corby, he's like 35, 36 years old.
He was an all-star last season. Whether you want to agree with it or not. He shouldn't have been
an all-star, but
he was an all-star.
Because he plays in LA.
Because he was the only guy on his team.
If he was playing in Washington and put up those numbers, he wouldn't be an all-star.
Well, because they were winning.
Yeah, they were winning because Norman Powell had the first half of all first halves in terms of a season, right? He should have been their all-star over James Harden based on his first half of the season.
I'd guess, but also their roster wasn't as talented in that first half of the season. Like they got Bogdan, and who else did they get halfway through the season? I kind of
Ben
forget.
Simmons and like.
Oh yeah, they got Ben Simmons. I feel like they got one. Was Chris Dunn? No, I don't know. Or maybe that guy already left. But
look, no, I like Chris Dunn and I like some of the guys, but you have to acknowledge too, Zubac had a career year, Norman Powell had a career year, James Harden, even with his lack of efficiency, still looked better than people thought he was going to look. Like the regression is probably coming. You think Zubac is I get the logic of like, oh, this guy did this last year and he's just going to stay at that level because of his age and whatever. But sometimes guys just have a good year and then they have a down year. And Zubac is not one of those guys who to me has earned that confidence of like, oh, he's going to be another top 10 center in the NBA this year.
Why not? There's no reason for him not to be. Now they have even more playmakers on the team, and a lot of his top 10 ranking was his defense. You think he's going to drop off defensively randomly? No.
I don't know.
I think just he used everything he's used in his long NBA career. I'm saying long, but he's probably only like 30 years old.
Yeah.
And is now official. I mean, he's always been a good defensive center, but last year he was a great defensive center. Like,
yeah, but even with
the second team or something, I kind of forget. But it's an amazing roster, and I can't believe you want to talk about regression and injuries and all that kind of stuff. But you're biased. You have your own team ahead of the Clippers. That's crazy because they are.
Yeah, of course
they are just as old, if not older, than the Clippers. Their starting five is older. I don't think their general team, the Clippers, are older.
Yeah, but name one guy on the Clippers who's as good as Steph Curry.
I mean, no one. But dude, the Clippers like 8th man is better than the Warriors like 4th man. I think I'm just low on everyone else on the Warriors, but I just like I love. I don't love Draymond, but Draymond's still really good.
Yeah.
Jimmy's still really good. Steph's still really good, and then everyone else, it's like I'm taking the Clippers' depth over them, and depth matters in the regular season. I don't think the Clippers are built for the playoffs.
The Warriors roster that they have.
It's all a bunch of
best.
Yeah, they run 14 man. They run 14.
It was they had like the 3rd or 2nd best record in the NBA after trading for Jimmy.
Whatever. Miss me with that Quentin Post 20-point preseason game, dude. I just
hey man.
I'm sick of. Okay, wait, so who did? Oh yeah, so you had the. Did we talk about your team or my team? Yeah, I'm totally blank. Oh, I had the Kings.
We talked about. Yeah,
okay,
and
we already talked about the Kings.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't have much more to say about the Clippers. We can kind of just move on.
We'll talk about them a little bit more.
The top
when
10.
I get to them because my ranking's a little insane. Who do you have at number 10?
Number 10, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. So kind of the similar reasons I told you before. I just really do think that they have talent on their roster in terms of young talent, and I don't know that these injuries throughout the entire course of the season, even if guys miss the first couple weeks, are gonna like dramatically, like if they miss 7 games, maybe that could make a difference in the West. But this was a team that won 48 games last year. Still,
I just don't think they have talent. I think they have 2 guys who are talented and then 13 connecting guys. And you can't have 13 connecting guys with an injury-prone John Morant and a kind of injury-prone. I mean, Jaren's been healthy the last couple of seasons, but he's already hurt. And early in his career, he missed a lot of games.
But even when those guys went down with injuries last year, these quote-unquote connecting guys showed that they can take on a bigger role and be successful. Like Scottie Pippen Jr. had a really good couple months of the season when John Morant was hurt.
He did. I don't believe. I think the West got that much better. I have the Warriors at 10. I understand how good they were. They were really good once they got Jimmy Butler last season. But for the same reasons that you have the Clippers low, I do think Jimmy Butler is the type of guy who just. I think it was a fresh. he got some fresh air now with the Warriors, being with them for half a season, but he's not going to be as motivated coming to the season. I really don't think he will be. And he's getting older. He is pretty old. Steph Curry is pretty old. I see a little bit of regression between those two. And I've never been a believer of any of the other guys on the Warriors. Maybe I actually really loved what I saw from Buddy Hield. I still think Draymond will be Draymond.
Yeah.
His game has never been. He's still going to be just as good defensively. I liked what I saw from Buddy Hield, but everyone else, I'm just not as big on Kuminga. I don't like pods very much.
Yeah.
I don't like guys like Gary Payton II who are just purely bad offensively. Quentin Post, slow 7-footer. I respect how good he is from shooting threes. I don't like Guy Santo. I just don't. I understand that they're technically deep, but I don't like the talent that they are deep.
I mean, I can't argue that too much, especially given that you're using like a different level of logic. I just, obviously, like there's a bit of bias in there for me.
So for sure. I'm
not going to deny that.
Yeah, I don't. It's like I want you to be biased, and I don't even think. I think I am just kind of lower than most people. Most people probably have them as like a 7-8 seed or something. So we'll see where you have them. But yeah, just overall, I don't see them. I don't see any world where Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler miss the playoffs or the play-in. So this is definitely like the lower end of.
This seems like their absolute floor to me. Like,
so I think that.
You're just basically saying you think they'll hit their absolute floor.
And I think there will be some injuries that will probably happen because they are old. Same thing with the Clippers. Like that's not me being.
So the fact that you have the Clippers, you said that might be the biggest gap we have. I'm curious to see where you have them.
I'm just super high. I mean, John Collins is kind of my guy, so I have them pretty high. But it's just because I believe in their actual depth, like their 1 through 10 that much. Or 1 through 11.
Amir Coffee.
No, he's not even part of the 1 through 11. No, don't say that. I don't believe in Amir Coffee.
All right. Number 9, I have the Phoenix Suns.
Wow, you have them as a play. Okay, I have the Spurs. So
not a crazy difference.
You have the Spurs higher. Okay.
Yeah.
So why are the Phoenix Suns this high?
Because sometimes less is more. Now, you went out and you got Kevin Durant and you got Bradley Beal and you tried to make this big three and you tried to create all this offensive weaponry and it just didn't work. Even when they were on the court together, it didn't work, right? Their counting numbers looked really good, but if you watch the Phoenix Suns, they didn't look good as a team. Devin Booker's best role as a player in the NBA is as the first option. Now, is he a guy who as a first option is going to lead you to a championship? That's up for debate, but he does function best as a first option, especially with the playmaking ability he's picked up in the last couple of years. And now he is going to be given agency to run that offense 100% as he would. And I think we're forgetting Devin Booker is that guy. Like you said, second best shooting guard in the NBA. I feel like it's almost disrespectful to say that because of how, like, he is the second best shooting guard in the NBA. I'm not saying that, but like of how thin the shooting guard position is. He's a really damn good player offensively. Like when Devin Booker is on offensively, there are very few guys in the NBA who can match him from a pure shot making perspective.
No, you dropped 50 points on Herb Jones. I was pissed because I bet the under. This was like a couple seasons ago. I'm like, dude, it's Herb Jones. This was like peak, like the Pelicans were like a playing team, and Herb Jones was like in depoy.
Peak Pelicans when they were a playing team.
That's so sad. But yeah, Herb Jones was seen as like, oh, maybe he could be a defensive player of the year guy if they gave it to a guard. And Booker dropped 50 on him. It was probably in like 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Like Booker literally didn't miss. Like that dude, when he's on, no one could stop him.
Devin Booker is that guy. Okay. So that's my number 1. Number 2, I really believe in the combo of Malawech and Mark Williams. I think center is a really hard position to learn in the NBA, but the fact that Malawech will be able to play as a backup center to start his career will benefit him a lot. And Mark Williams is a guy who we know if he can stay healthy, which I know, right? So I've been saying stuff about health all day, so maybe it's just back and forth, maybe it's just vibes, maybe it's just whatever. But if Mark Williams can stay healthy, he's a really good center, and he pairs really well as a lob threat, and so does Malawech next to Devin Booker. Dylan Brooks is a really good connecting piece as a defender and a three-point shooter. Now, Jalen Green, that's kind of where people start to lose confidence in the Phoenix Suns, right? I am not the biggest Jalen Green guy. Or at least I'm not the biggest fan of how he's been characterized in terms of the expectations and the sort of like ideas that have been put on him as some sort of superstar or offensive like juggernaut, right? He is at the end of the day probably at best like a third option on a championship team. And even then he doesn't necessarily have the skill set that allows him to be that third option. But that being said, Jalen Green is a guy who could really flourish in a new, place and get that breath of fresh air. Because I feel like part of the reason why he was bad with the Rockets is there was this level of like underlying confidence of like, no, I'm their guy. They're not going to get rid of me. I was their like he was number 2, number 3 in the draft.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm their guy. They're not getting rid of me. So I can this is my team. And then all of a sudden it flipped. It wasn't his team anymore. Şengün was more impactful than he was. Amen Thompson was more impactful than he was. Fred VanVleet was more impactful than he was. And all of a sudden it flipped on its head, right? Now he's going to a team where, no, Devin Booker's the guy, right? So Jalen Green, to be successful, has to shift his mentality. And I think that shift in mentality could be great because we've seen Jalen Green hoop. And when he hoops, it's incredible to watch. You're like, this guy could be top 20 in the league if he did this consistently.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's going to be given the reins with the bench unit, I would assume. I'd assume there's going to be a lot of Jalen Green in the bench unit minutes.
You'd hope.
So
I can't be a Jalen Green believer because I think what he is best at is go-to scoring, and the Rockets gave him all of the reign to do that in Houston. Mm-hmm. Because as much as you want to talk about Şengün and Fred VanVleet and all these guys, none of them should have been as good as Jalen Green offensively. Mm-hmm. And in that playoff series,
he had one good game. He had one good game. That was it.
And they didn't even they needed for momentum. They needed that one good game.
Yeah.
But that's a 7-game series.
If he has another good game in one of the games that they lose, they win that series.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because that was a tough, close 7-game series. Mm-hmm. He only needed to play a little bit better because he was bad at all the other games. And as much as he does you're right, he needs to shift his mentality. He needs to be more buy into an offense versus just being a scorer. I do think his game is best or should be best off as being a go-to scorer. So I think that it was his best case scenario, and he wasn't good in that. I just don't see him being good as a sidekick.
I mean, maybe not, but
I mean, you can hope. I guess he is. I will say he is he's like an average defender. He's not some slouch defensively.
And I think you look at these hyper athletic guys who have alter their games. There's a lot of them that have changed their games into shooters. Zach LaVine is the primary example of a guy who developed that shooting touch later in his career, right? I think Jalen Green can absolutely do that. And I think Jalen Green is going to, I feel like the thing about it is you're saying he works best as that volume scorer and they gave him all those touches. I disagree. I think he didn't work well as a volume scorer. I think that was clearly represented in his play. And like I said, I think sometimes less is more. I think sometimes less opportunities is actually more opportunity for a player because there is a way in which that dictates your game style, your play style that is more beneficial for you. Jalen Green is not this hyper efficient jump shooter, right? He can be when he's on, but that's not his game. His game is slashing and getting to the basket, right? Now, next to Devin Booker, he can't just isolate. So, getting the basket, slashing, backdoor cuts, things like that, playing off of Devin Booker, right? Devin Booker's gravity is going to create more driving lanes for Jalen Green, right? And Devin Booker has never played with a guy as athletic as Jalen Green in his entire career. He's never played with a guy like this before. And I'm not saying Jalen Green is this incredible player necessarily above the level of guys like Kevin Durant or Bradley Beal maybe Bradley Beal, but Kevin Durant, because obviously he's not, but it's just a very different type of player that's going to open up opportunities for Devin Booker to get more shots and also for Jalen Green to get more shots.
Did Booker ever play with Gerald Green?
Now
that would be the only other.
That would be the only other guy.
I actually kind of
and I do remember him on the Suns around that time that Booker was drafted.
He might have had one season. Oh no! I think the second Gerald Green left, Devin Booker came into the NBA. So dang, really,
been unfortunate for him. Anyway, I've gotten all my stuff out about the Suns.
Okay.
What do you have to say about the Spurs?
The Spurs, I think this is my first because all around I've been talentless. I don't think they have as much talent. Mm-hmm. This is the first where it kind of is less is more, and I think the Spurs to a certain degree, it might kind of sound a little stupid, but they have too much quote unquote talent for their own good. Mm-hmm. I really don't like the fit. Okay, let's just I'll say some positive things because they are a play-in team.
Yeah.
Victor Wembanyama is probably a top 5 player in the NBA already, or maybe top 7 or 8. But I think at the end of the season, a lot of people are expecting him to take that total jump where he's actually competing with guys like Jokic and Shea. I mean, you watch the guy, the way he defends, the way he can just score on anyone. I don't know if you saw that like Euro step he hit on one of his teammates, I forget, in a practice, and he just totally bodied him, dunked on it. He's clearly stronger. He's clearly more built for the NBA. But most importantly, this dude Wemby has the mentality of a GOAT, which is something that like. And I know a lot of people kind of say this about Ant because Ant is like he has confidence, he's cocky, and he's always willing to take the shots or whatever. But you hear the things that Wemby says, the things he does in his offseason to improve his game, and like I genuinely believe in the guy. Like he will be at the end of the season known as someone just as good as a guy like Shea. So overall, that's
just as good as Shea though is crazy because that guy just won the MVP, the scoring title, had like one of the best.
This
like
dude Wemby is a 25 point per game scorer who is like minus 150 to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
That kind of combination, I don't think we've ever seen before outside of a guy like Kawhi Leonard in his peak. And even then, Kawhi Leonard was not minus 150 ever to win Defensive Player of the Year. Like, that's how good defensively Wemby is.
No, yeah, I mean,
and
you could say Giannis.
And then I actually do love what the Spurs are doing. They signed a bunch of centers, and they're really going to have Wemby playing a lot of the four.
Oh, Hakeem.
Oh, Hakeem. Yeah, that's true. Which, by the way, one of the greatest.
I mean, yeah, if Wemby could be Hakeem, then I think everyone would be pretty happy about that.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
They signed Luke Cornett. They played Luke Cornett next to Wemby in the preseason, and this dude Wemby got like 7 assists in like 18 minutes, along with like 20 points, because you can't help off him at all. Wemby's actually such a good passer. Well, I'm not even gonna say he's such a good passer, but because he's so tall, it's so easy for him to make a pass above someone's head. And he got like 5 alley-oops in 15 minutes to Luke Cornett just because you can't help off him at all. I mean, maybe even if his vision technically isn't as good as a guy like Jokic,
he's 7'4".
His pocket of passing,
he can just see insane. Over everybody. Yeah. Like there is no like need for vision when you can just see the entire court, and there's literally no one that is going to block that sort of vision or passing lane that you can create. Right? He can pass the ball in passing lanes that don't even exist for most of the NBA.
He is incredible, and if he does stay healthy, this is their floor as the 9th seed. The reason I don't believe in them being higher is just I look at a guy like De'Aaron Fox, and he has a lot of talent. But you look at Fox, you look at Stephon Castle, you look at Dylan Harper, a guy like Jeremy Sohan, a guy like Harrison Barnes, and overall, I don't think they have enough shooting. They also like Keldon Johnson. They don't have enough shooting on the team. It's just kind of all a bunch of like pretty good guys, but I don't think they really fit, especially next to Wemby. I'm a little lower on Fox than other people. Like I think Fox. I mean, I could have put this as like a hot take, but I didn't. I think De'Aaron Fox and Zach LaVine are like same level players. Like I think they're both just as good as each other. Which that just kind of goes more to my Kings thing, and that's why I had the Kings a little bit higher than most people. But overall, they have a lot of talent, and hopefully it does work out. But I just Stephon Castle, below average 3-point shooter. De'Aaron Fox, you can say like an average. I mean, it's a great like pull up game, but catch and shoot, not so much.
Right.
Dylan Harper, how much you're gonna believe in a 3-point shot from him? I don't know. Sohan, below average. Harrison Barnes, average. Not many. Like the only above average guy I can think of is Devin Vassell. And then Wemby.
Yeah.
and even Wemby percentage-wise isn't, but he could just take the most ridiculous shots. So you have to contest him in such a way.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm not big on the continuity of the team. I do think less is more. I personally, I'll get to my take. I have a hot take about it later. But I just wish I saw a little more shooting, maybe a little more like actual defense, because Stephon Castle and then like Jeremy Sohan are the only actual defensive guys. Yeah, I'm not so high on everyone else, but Wemby, I absolutely believe in.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with any of that. So, moving on. Number 8. I have the Los Angeles Lakers.
You have the team I'm about to say higher. That's crazy. I have the Pelicans at the 8th seed. So you have the Lakers. That's pretty low because their Vegas line is like, I think it might be 49.5 wins. So
I mean, what was the 8th seed last year? 48 wins?
No. Was it? Really?
Yeah, Grizzlies won 48 wins. Jesus Christ. Grizzlies won 48 games, Warriors won 48 games, Timberwolves won 49 games, and they were the 6th seed.
Let me see, because I think according to Vegas, I think the 6th seed might have been like, I forget what team it was, but it was like 45.5 wins or like 44.5 wins. So interesting. But yeah, why don't you explain the Lakers?
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead. Obviously, you have Luka Doncic and LeBron James. Incredible 1-2 punch. Austin Reeves, good player. Dalton Knecht, good player. DeAndre Ayton has seemed to have bought into the system he'll be playing in. I mean, we'll see. But he's committed more to the idea of not scoring, but like rebounding, playing defense, doing the little things to help the team win. This team's bad on defense.
Yeah.
This team's really bad on defense. Like, I mean, LeBron James at 41, is he now?
I think he's 41.
41 years old.
Maybe even 42.
Is the best wing defender on your team in your starting lineup, at the very least. If Marcus Smart starts, he's probably your best defender, but even then, I mean, he's still
you can say Jared Vanderbilt.
A few years removed. Jared Vanderbilt, but Jared Vanderbilt is borderline unplayable. Dorian Finney-Smith, as much as people kind of, whatever, go back and forth on him, was honestly a really valuable piece for them as a wing defender.
I mean, he played every single minute of that last playoff game.
Now, Luka Doncic and LeBron James will never not be a top 8 seed in whatever conference they're in. And that's just my personal belief. So this, in some ways, is their floor. Like, this is kind of the first, well, not the first time, but this is one of the times where I'm pointing at a team's absolute floor and saying, yes, they could do better. But I just don't believe that they're going to do better because this is not a very different roster than what they had last year.
No.
And, like, I don't know.
We don't know how much Luka's going to be healthy.
We don't know how much LeBron's going to be healthy because he's 41 years old. Austin Reeves is obviously a good player, but he's not a number one option.
Is he really what they need? Like,
and then who is there? Like, I'm hitting on defense, but where's the offense coming from outside of those three guys? Is it Dalton Connect?
You have to bet on Dalton Connect, and he wasn't even that good.
JJ Redick doesn't like playing him because he's another defensive liability.
Yeah,
as of right now.
I guess you can say, is Gabe Vincent still on the team? Let me see.
The fact that we're talking about them relying on Gabe Vincent as their fourth offensive option says enough. So, look, I believe in the talent of LeBron.
They do have they added Jake LaRavia, who I actually think is a solid piece.
He's a solid piece, so they did add him. But I believe in LeBron. I believe in Luka.
I guess it'd be Roy Hachimura.
So Roy Hachimura, yeah. So not bad, but there's little to no defense.
I think it's probably a top 5 offensive team and then like bottom 10 defensively.
And there's another team that has that problem that I just think is that I have like significantly higher, that is just that much better offensively. And I feel like it does make up that gap. And they'll also stay healthy is the other thing. So I'm assuming you could guess who I'm talking about. But anyway, that's why I have the Lakers there. And you had the Pelicans. Now, I never thought a day would come where I'm higher on the Pelicans than you, but
wrong, because you were higher on the Pelicans last year.
Oh, that's true. I was.
Because I was not messing, and I was right. I was right about it. I was not messing with the Pelicans last year. I did not mess with DeJounte Murray.
That was just kind of a.
Honestly, it was me kind of just being a hater.
Like, yeah, kind of an agenda thing. I believe
them being better. But
I feel like if they just started the year without DeJounte Murray with the exact same roster, you would have had them higher.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Zion Williamson is back, and I absolutely love it. The dude lost like 30 pounds, 40 pounds, maybe. He looks skinny, which is really good. The more I kind of think about it, the more even higher I am on him being skinny, because he's always been strong, and maybe he lost a little bit of strength, but he never, like, strength wasn't really the big thing that got him all his buckets. It really was a lot of just athleticism, a lot of him just like spinning off of people and stuff. And he's going to only get better with this. Hopefully he stays even healthier with this. And this is like Zion, he's going to put up an MVP caliber season. Now, he's not even going to end in the top 5 in rankings, in my opinion, because the team isn't good enough. I mean, overall, I like the youth of this Pelicans team, and I think they're in a good direction as long as they have a good season this year, because they don't have their draft pick this year. So if they're bad, then not only does it go to show that Zion can't lead a team to the playoffs, but they can't get too much better. But I do like guys like, for the future, like Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, but in their rookie seasons, are they going to play winning basketball? I don't know. They have a bunch of solid guys on the Pelicans. They have Jordan Poole now. They have Trey Murphy. They have Herb Jones. But overall, just not enough talent, in my opinion, for them to get an actual playoff spot. Hopefully they can make the playoffs from the play-in. But overall, this is just a testament of how good Zion is. I know Vegas has their line, because we are just so high on the Pelicans. Vegas has their line at like 32.5.
Well, I mean, that's because they're not trusting Zion to stay healthy. Because if Zion gets hurt, then that's an easy under, in my opinion.
Oh, it is. Yeah, for sure.
But if he stays healthy, that's it's an easy over. So it's like,
Yeah. So we are just a podcast that's super high on Zion. But overall, yeah, I do think
we're positive here.
Yeah. They have guys. DeJounte will eventually come back. They have guys like Jose Alvarado. Jordan Hawkins was good in college. Hasn't been too good in the NBA, but hopefully he finds his step. They have, who else am I missing? I don't really know. We can talk about it. I'll look it up while you're talking about them eventually. But overall, yeah, I really hope that the Pelicans take this kind of jump. I mean, this is their ceiling again, where they haven't been more than an 8 seed in the last since Anthony Davis has been a Pelican. So hopefully this is the year that Zion proves that he could be the guy. Not that they didn't need Brandon Ingram, but that they don't need Brandon Ingram, and that it could be just him.
Yep. No, I hope so.
All right.
Anyway, moving on. Number 7, I have the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay. I have the Dallas Mavericks.
So that's a big gap, and I think we already established that for our Mavericks rankings. Yeah. With the Spurs, I mean, it's pretty much just everything you talk about, except I believe a little bit more in De'Aaron Fox than you do. I think he is a measurably better player than Zach LaVine. So that's just my personal opinion on De'Aaron Fox. And Wemby, obviously, and I think I believe a little bit more in the supporting cast. There's not a ton more that I could say to really differentiate from what you said. It's just more like I do believe that Dylan Harper will be impactful right away, and I think that there are good supporting pieces around Wemby, and I think they'll play well around Wemby. So
okay,
yeah,
and then the Mavericks. I believe in them. An amazing center rotation is just something that I will always be high on for an NBA team. Like you were saying with the Suns having ball to watch. I mean, Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford is just a better rotation.
Yeah, it's just the elevated version of that.
Yeah, and then they'll have Anthony Davis, who I'll have a hot take about AD later. And then I love their bench guys. I like guys like Max Christie. I like guys like PJ Washington, who debatably will start, but whatever. And then I like guys like Najee Marshall. I mean, they're fighters. I'm super high on a team's 1 through 10 when it comes to the regular season. Once it gets past 10, which isn't very good for the Mavericks, I don't really care. At that point, it kind of just becomes coaching, and I like Jason Kidd as a coach. So
yeah, all right, that was it. That was actually nice. That was short and sweet.
Yep.
I like that. All right, now we're getting into the top 6. These are the quote-unquote playoff teams, as we consider them now, so the teams that are guaranteed a playoff spot if they get one of these seeds. And starting with number 6, I have the New Orleans Pelicans.
Okay, I was about to say, any higher, and that's actually crazy.
It would be insane. Now I have them this high for a lot of the reasons you said, except I think I'm a little higher on Zion even than you are, because I remember we saw him lose the weight, right? And my biggest concern was the strength, right? Because even though his game isn't predicated on strength, there is a lot of his game that relies on it, right? He does still have to be able to move people. In terms of spinning off of people, he has to create that sort of worry of like, okay, I got to get my body in front of this guy, and then he spins off you so quick, right? Shout out Charles Barkley. Anyway, I watched the game that they played in Melbourne. Jesus Christ, dude. This is why I gotta drink water when I'm recording. Otherwise, I sound like I'm a bird crying for help in the dead of winter.
Yeah.
I'll down the whole thing. Big jug.
Hell yeah.
No, I watched the game they played in Australia. Zion stats obviously looked good, but what really struck me is that after losing 30 pounds or whatever he lost, it was like 20 to 30 pounds, I think, he just looked the same but faster. That was it.
Yeah.
Like he looked like he could move people the exact same. He was moving the exact same, except he was just faster. Like I have never seen someone, and this is going to sound crazy, but really not. I've never seen someone look that close to a young LeBron ever before. Yeah. And he does. Especially now that he's leaned up even. Like when he said, like, I feel as good as I have since Duke, I believe it. Like, he looks incredible. And Zion, when he's healthy and moving well, is on a Giannis level of being an unstoppable player. Because how do you stop? He tied Shaq's record. Shaquille O'Neal, a guy who is 7 to 8 inches taller than him based on what measurement you're looking at. And he tied his record for most consecutive games with 20 plus points, shooting better than 50% from the field. He had like 27 straight games doing that.
And that's being out of shape.
Yeah.
So him in shape. I mean, people got to forget that him at Duke was not only the best player in college basketball, but was the most undebatable, like, #1 pick ever.
Yeah.
And John Morant had a ridiculous season at Murray State.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Losing weight helps you shoot. Now, I'm not saying Zion's going to become some sort of sniper, but I think he can shoot. Like, he's shown that he has confidence to shoot it sometimes. If that dude gets a jump shot on him,
I mean, that's undebatably top 10 in the league.
Yeah,
Like,
that it might get real scary for the West real quick. But Jordan Poole is a guy who I believe, when he is not the #1 option, is an incredible player, and I think he will be really good for the Pelicans. DeJounte Murray is still coming back, right? Which, even though DeJounte Murray, when he's your #1 or #2, isn't great, when he's your #3 or #4,
I hope he locks in on defense.
And if he locks in on defense and can be a good perimeter defender, I mean, that's tough coming off of an Achilles tear. But he could do that.
He tore his ACL early in his season.
That's true.
Early in his career.
But Herb Jones, I really like as a defender. Trey Murphy is a guy who is going to fill that Brandon Ingram role, not to a T, but he's going to fill it pretty damn well. And then center is really their biggest question mark. Derek Queen. Obviously, it'll be interesting to see how much run he gets.
Well, he's already hurt right now, so that's the problem.
Yves Missi he showed some good stuff last year. We'll just have to see how he pairs next to Zion, because that is a very condensed 4-5.
Yeah.
But Zion's might be able to just play from the perimeter out too on offense is the thing, because he's so fast and because he has a handle. And he's probably going to be their point forward anyway, I would assume.
I think so.
At least until DeJounte gets back, and then maybe we'll see where they send playmaking duties.
Yeah. And then they also have Kevon Looney now.
Yeah. But no, I just believe that they're a better all-around roster than the Spurs. They're better defensively than the Lakers. And I'm just pointing out the teams I have below them that could have filled this spot. And I really just believe in Zion, and maybe that's wishful thinking. But a full season of Zion being healthy and playing good would be amazing for the NBA.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree. Zion is my favorite player in the NBA, because when he is on and he is that 26 point per game guy that he showed in his sophomore season, you know what's crazy? I was a Zion hater in college.
Were you actually?
Yes, I was. Like, for some reason, I just wasn't seeing the hype. But I saw that second season. That first game ever that we've talked about on this pod,
my gosh,
of him hitting 4 threes, and then that second season where he was an all-star, and I'm like, this guy literally is LeBron. Yeah. I mean, obviously not as good of a jump shooter or anything, but like athletically, he looks like LeBron.
And LeBron wasn't like that early in his career anyway. Like, maybe he could hit the mid-range, but he was not a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, definitely ahead of Zion right now. But
yeah,
I mean, it's never too late. Zion's only like, what, 26?
Yeah, he's 26.
Yeah, a lot of time. Hopefully we get an amazing 5-year peak, because I don't know how great his game's gonna age personally. But
that is the unfortunate thing. But we just need 5-6 years of it.
Then that would be amazing. Overall, okay, at 6, I have the Lakers.
Yep.
I think they're a playoff team because they have Luka Doncic and they have LeBron James, and that is a top 5 offense. Now, the defense is definitely a struggle. I don't want to take DeAndre Ayton's word, because his game means a lot more, and what his game has shown is he's not a good defender, but he is talking about buying in more defensively and just overall rebounding, helping the team. And he did show that in his first preseason game. I think in like 20 minutes, he only took like 2 shots because he was trying to just spend all his effort on defense. That's great that he did it in a preseason game and that he's talking about it. But the season's 82 games long. So it honestly is kind of hard to keep that motivation throughout 6 months. So, but overall, I mean, it's Luka Doncic. I mean, obviously being a Hawks fan and having that whole trade thing, I'm like a little bit of a hater. I mean, I think most Hawks fans are pretty much over it, but just that initial thing kind of. So, but overall, he's a top 5 player in the league. I mean, offensively, he's unstoppable when he's healthy. I still don't think he's totally there when it comes to being skinny, because I know like everyone's saying that he's the skinniest he's ever been, but I saw on media day I don't think he's all the way there yet. Hopefully,
and also, I don't. We'll see, but I don't know that being super skinny is beneficial for his game anyway.
Oh no, because
I think having that, it's weird, but like the pace at which he plays and the way he plays, it almost is good for him to have a little bit of not muscle on him. Like in terms of that, like he's not one of those guys that needs to be like super lean, super muscular, whatever. It almost benefits him to just have that like kind of momentum weight to move guys around with.
Yeah, and you definitely saw that, because when they played the Phoenix Suns in that game 7 where they tore the Suns up.
Yeah.
A lot of those buckets were just him. Well, there was a couple like crazy 3-pointers, but
Yeah.
for the most part, he uses his weight for momentum to score on any kind of smaller defender like a Mikal Bridges or whatever. So I believe in the Lakers to be this good. I don't think they'll win 50 games or anything like Vegas is saying, but just because the defense will be bottom 10. I don't see, maybe like bottom 12.
I mean, if you have them there, though, you have them winning almost 50 games.
Maybe because I was looking, and yeah, you were right. The 8 seed won 48 games last year, but also the 9 seed won only 40 games. So I really do think it'll be a bit more balanced. Where
Maybe,
those 3 through 6 will lose a couple more, and the 9 through or the 8 through 10, no 9 through 11.
I could
win
see
a couple
that.
more.
I could see that for sure.
All right.
Number 5.
Number 5, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I have the Golden State Warriors.
Okay. Yeah, talk about the Warriors first.
Actually, I want you to talk because I have things to say about the Warriors that go beyond the rankings. So
Okay.
I want to let you get your.
Minnesota, I think last year was like the 3 seed or something around there, maybe 4. No, I think there were 4.
Last year? They were
Yeah.
the 6th seed.
Oh, were they the 6th seed last year? Oh, so actually I have them being a bit better. But the Wolves started off pretty slow with Julius Randle not really finding his footing. And then midway through the season, Randle got hurt, talked about how he just observed the games now from the bench and talked about how everyone else was putting in more effort than he was. So when he came back from injury, he was a much better player. Even if the stats didn't say it, there's a reason that the Minnesota Timberwolves, I believe they were like a 9-10 seed going into the All-Star break, and then they really climbed the rankings.
Yeah.
Come March and April, which I still believe in, don't get me wrong, but I don't have them being like a top 3 or 4 seed because they didn't really replace Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was a huge part of the team. Mike Conley is only getting older. But overall, Anthony Edwards is going to lead this team to wins. I don't think Ant will ever miss the playoffs ever again. I think he might have his first season.
Yeah.
But then ever since then, he's that good of a player. When you have a top 8 guy, I mean, there's not many top 8 guys that I have missing the playoffs. Even Giannis has that terrible roster. I don't. But overall, they brought back most of their guys, though, at least. They still have Naz Reid. They still have Rudy Gobert, also Rudy Gobert is kind of like a floor raiser of Gobert's not going to lose many games because of how good he is defensively.
Yeah.
And yeah, I believe in the team. I think they're going to be the same team they were last year. I guess that's going up a little bit in the seeding. Just overall, they're a more balanced team than the Lakers, but I really don't think they match up with the other 4 guys. Not too much to say about them. But
Fair enough. I mean,
I hope Rob Dillingham. I guess like the guy who was supposed to replace Nickeil Alexander-Walker is, I guess, Terrence Shannon.
Yeah.
So we'll see, because honestly, even though Nickeil was like the 7th or 8th man, there was still like they run like a pretty heavy 1 through 8. Like they don't really run their 9 and 10 guys so much. So it'll be a lot of minutes going to him. And then hopefully also a guy like Rob Dillingham can step up and replace Mike Conley.
I don't have a ton more to say about the Timberwolves. I'll just say I have a spot above the Warriors, so they're at 4 because there's not much more. I could like wait, but
there's not much. Yeah, it's like the same team.
I just believe in them like a little bit more, I guess, than you do. Like Julius Randle and that chemistry, and I believe in Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. I think Rob Dillingham is going to have a good year this year. So
yeah,
that's kind
of. And they're more of a playoff team than a regular season team, and even then, I have them this high. So
yeah. Warriors. Now, obviously, having the 5 seed, that means I'm not too upset with the roster and how everything worked out. I think Stephen Curry is still a almost top 10 player in the NBA.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler, he plays well off of Steph. We'll see what his level of motivation is, but I still think he's a really good complementary piece. Draymond Green is obviously Draymond Green. He's going to give you the good. He's going to give you the bad. It's going to be more the good than bad. And I actually do like their bench for the most part. I like Moses Moody a lot. I like that they added Al Horford, even though on a multi-year deal is a little bit crazy. But Al Horford, Quentin Post is obviously like your prototypical stretch big, can't play defense. But if he can develop a little bit more around the rim, then that's going to benefit the Warriors a lot. Trace Jackson Davis is kind of the opposite. He's a guy who strictly plays around the rim, but can offer a nice complement. Buddy Hield last year was good. Brandon Podziemski had a lot of ups and downs. He had a really bad start to the year shooting the ball, and then ended up actually evening out to about 37% shooting from 3. So he shot closer to like 40% over the last like 55 games of the season. And there were games where he would really like carry the Warriors offensively, especially if Steph was hurt. So I do believe that he can have a really good impact. And obviously I like Jonathan Kuminga. We'll have to see what his role ends up being. But speaking of Jonathan Kuminga, this offseason might be the stupidest thing I've seen in my entire life, because we did this whole rope-a-dope for 3 months, 4 months, whenever the Warriors got eliminated to a week ago.
That might be 5 months.
We went through this whole thing, and like I mean, you see, there's another video on the channel. I went on a rant about what was going on with the Warriors at the time. I'm not gonna like dive back into all of that, but I think I was wearing the same shirt too. Anyway, whole off season, all this stuff about Kuminga, all this stuff. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be there. They're going to trade him. They're going to get rid of him. They're going to resign. But no, now we have to like re-sign him for less. No, we don't want to give him what he. If it would have been any other result, it would have felt like something, like genuinely something happened. But the fact that this was going on, I think drove free agents away from the Warriors, because they made them look like a dysfunctional organization, right?
Yeah.
And then to re-sign him for exactly what he was asking for from the beginning, pretty much. How fucking stupid can you possibly get? 4, almost 5 months of back and forth about this contract, and you just end up re-signing him for the exact amount he was asking for from the beginning. 2 years, $24.5 million a year. Maybe a little less than what he was asking for. Maybe he just didn't want to be in the Warriors. But it just, the only thing that came of this was he changed his number. That was it. He changed his number. Otherwise, we could have just had this re-sign happen from the beginning, and then they would be maybe more free agents on the Warriors, or more, free agent attraction to the Warriors, because it's like, okay, this team isn't actively fighting with their 22-year-old to, figure out if they're going to trade him or not. They don't know what they're doing in terms of trading him or re-signing him or whatever. They were flying by the seat of their pants, and no teams wanted what they were asking for him. So clearly they valued him highly, but not highly enough to just pay him from the beginning. It's just one of those things that's like, I can't even get mad about it to that level, because it's so stupid. It literally, honestly, like, I'm a Jonathan Kuminga guy. I believe in him. So I was happy when they re-signed him. But when I saw that, my first reaction was, are you fucking kidding me? Like, are you actually kidding me? We just ended up re-signing him for exactly what he was asking for from the very beginning. Yeah. Not even like the qualifying offer, not even save them some money. It just makes the organization look stupid. It makes Mike Dunleavy look stupid. It makes it look just like this team doesn't really know what they're doing. And thank God they have Steph Curry. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm scared for when the Warriors lose Steph Curry. That's a franchise.
Yeah, because Jonathan Kuminga's, again, under contract for 2 years. That's basically the remainder of Steph's time in Golden State, unless he signs like another extension. So you're just going to lose Kuminga once Steph's gone too. Yeah. Like, you're going to lose Jimmy, you're going to lose Kuminga. Draymond's going to be gone unless Draymond like sticks around until he's 40.
Don't worry, I think they'll sign Jalen Green.
Yeah, I think they will actually.
So that'll be fun.
What, like,
G League Ignite teammate.
What a masterclass on how to not develop your young players. I mean, Moses Moody is
that's like the most they've developed.
Moses Moody is a guy who, from like year one, every Warriors fan has been like, give this guy more minutes, and they don't give him more minutes. And every time he gets minutes, he plays well. I mean, he is a prototypical shooting guard in the modern NBA. He can defend, he can shoot, he can drive. He has everything you want a shooting guard to be, and they just don't play him. It doesn't make any sense. If he doesn't start this year, I really have nothing to say, especially because they don't seem to believe in Kuminga as their starter. So if they go out and they start Pods again, don't get me wrong, I like Pods. He's a bench point guard, especially where he's at in his career right now. Moses Moody is the perfect shooting guard, and they refuse to play him for some reason. Thank God he hasn't gone the Kuminga route of like just basically spitting on the team and saying, I want nothing to do with you anymore.
Yeah. I think their starting five should be Steph, Moody, Jimmy, Draymond,
Horford or Trace Jackson Davis.
Yeah.
One of the two. And that's another guy too. What a disservice they've done to him in terms of not developing him as a player, right? Or giving him any run. Just, I mean, really, I said it once before, I'll say it again. Pick a lane. just pick a lane on what you want to do.
Yeah, either go for developing or go all in on
Or
contending.
trade these guys and go as a but now it's too late. Steph's 37. You have no idea when that big injury is going to happen. If it is going to happen, it's too late to do that now. And that's the frustrating part. As now the team is just what it is. If they're competitive, they're competitive. If they're not, they're not. But there's nothing you can change. You know?
You said it.
So.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I don't have any more to add. You said everything.
Yeah.
So let's go on to the 4 seed. I have the Houston Rockets.
Yep. And I said I had the Timberwolves already.
Oh, right. Yeah, you did. So we don't have to talk too much more about the Timberwolves. We can talk about the Rockets, though. I would have had them a lot higher. I would have been so much higher. On the
yeah.
team.
I mean, you had them. When we talked the other day about Fred VanVleet, I thought you would have had them a lot higher than this, even without Fred. So I'm curious. Yeah.
So without Fred, I think Fred VanVleet was such a huge piece of this team. I know, like, technically wise, he's not super efficient, but he's still an amazing scorer, and he had to be inefficient for this Rockets team last year because of how bad the offense was. Now they have Kevin Durant, so I was assuming, Fred VanVleet's going to be back. He's going to focus even more on defense, and he's going to be more efficient because he's going to get more open shots. And fortunately, he's not going to be playing next season. Instead, I think what they're going to do, so they already penciled in 4 starters for sure in Amen Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith Jr., and Sengun. So I don't really know. Either they're going to probably start Steven Adams at the 5, which is an incredibly big and not very good shooting lineup. Or they're going to
Reed Shepherd,
or they're going to start Reed Shepherd, maybe even like a Dorian Finney Smith. I don't know. Actually, they could do.
They could do a lot of things.
They do have a lot of good depth. They have like 3 amazing centers in Sengun, Steven Adams. I'm not gonna say Clint Capella is amazing, but for a third center kind of guy, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
They got Dorian Finney Smith. Overall, they have a bunch of solid pieces. Kevin Durant's gonna really move the needle when it comes to this team in the playoffs. Hopefully, Fred VanVleet can come back in the playoffs. I don't think it's too likely, but if he can, then they'll be I think they're way more of a playoff team. They really traded a lot of their depth piece guys for like 1 or 2 really good ones, in being like Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks for Kevin Durant. And I'm super high on Amen Thompson. I'm super high on Sengun. I think I have a hot take about Sengun. And then I'm high on KD. The problem is, though, they don't have as much shooting, as much ball handling. That's really the main part, and as much passing as they did last year. And I also think last year was a bit of a... They played a little better than they were supposed to. But I don't think them losing... I mean, when you have Kevin Durant on your team, he's going to probably miss 20 games this season. So if you could just get a playoff spot, then I like their situation for the playoffs. But yeah, I think they're a 4 seed. I probably would have had him as like a 2 seed, though, honestly, with Fred VanVleet. But that's a big miss.
No, I mean, you kind of said it. I have them higher, obviously, but we can get to that when we get to that.
Yeah.
So I think just moving on to number 3. I have the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, the Nuggets at 3. I have the Clippers.
Yeah, which is far too high. But
I think that when you give the Clippers... Okay, listen.
So this is... Okay, you go. You go.
They have a lot of talent 1 through 11. And one thing I didn't mention is how, yes, sometimes less is more. I will say that. But they have a guy in Tyronn Lue who is a top 5 coach. And I think he is going to really figure out. I mean, he has done so much more with so much less, that now that they have this kind of talent, I mean, I'm not even a Brook Lopez guy, but if he's your backup center, that's a pretty good backup center. Now, if he's your starter instead of Zubac, that's a problem. I've always hated Brook Lopez and always thought he was worse than probably what he really was. But as your backup center, they're starting John Collins, who's a 20-10 guy next to an elite playmaker, which, by the way, he's playing with again now that he's not with either Trae Young or the Utah Jazz. I just think Tyronn Lue's that good of a coach, where I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they'll probably lose in the first round to whoever's the 6th seed. I have them as playing the Lakers. The Lakers might beat them in the playoffs, maybe. But when it comes to regular season wins, if they could just stay a little bit healthy, if Kawhi Leonard plays more than half the season, this is a 3 seed right here. And I do think James Harden is kind of he's not an Iron Man or anything, but he's probably gonna play a lot of the season, even though he's aging. I mean, he hasn't really been a guy recently to miss a ton of games.
I mean, just wait until he pulls the fat suit out. As soon as he's done with the Clippers, he's done with the Clippers.
Yeah, but listen, this team's too good. He's not pulling. This isn't the Brooklyn Nets. He's not gonna pull out the fat suit. I really believe that they'll be at least a top 4 seed for sure. I'm at number 3.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of us is gonna be very wrong. So I think
last time we had a difference this large. You want to know what team it was? Last year, the Pelicans.
I actually think it was the Suns, wasn't it?
Oh no, it was the Suns.
Because I had them.
Oh crap! And you were right about
I had
that.
them finishing 12th. So maybe I'm due to be wrong, but
maybe.
Gosh, I wish we had that clip.
So you have the Nuggets at 3. That's pretty crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Not crazy I guess the Rockets were better than last year, and the Thunder were better than last year. But they got some good bench pieces.
They did. They got some really good bench pieces. Bruce Brown, obviously, we know he works well on the Nuggets. I mean, we've seen him, play really well on the Nuggets before. Jonas Valanciunas is the best backup center they've had for Jokic in ever.
Besides technically Nurkic.
Yeah. They got did they get Kennard?
No,
they got Tim Hardaway Jr.
Kennard. Yeah, they got Tim Hardaway Jr.
They got Tim Hardaway
for
Jr.
like a ninth man is pretty good.
It's pretty good, and I feel like they got one other guy.
They got they still have Strother.
They got Cam Johnson, but I feel like I'm missing.
They have Jalen Pickett still. Well,
one other guy.
Dude, did you see the one like preseason game of Jalen Pickett?
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna show you after the pod. He was hitting ridiculous shots. Like they were probably lucky, but like one legs, like half court heaves. Like
good for him, man.
Man, he might be good.
No, I think even getting rid of Michael Porter Jr., the Nuggets just got better on offense with Cam Johnson because he fits better into that starting lineup as a player next to Jokic. I mean, he's kind of a perfect complementary piece in a lot of ways. Health is obviously a concern for all teams at any point, especially with a guy like Jamal Murray who has been hurt. But typically,
besides Jamal Murray, it's not.
They've been a very healthy team, and Nikola Jokic usually plays 75 plus games a year.
Yeah.
So I think the Nuggets, I mean, they might be the best offense in the league, right? The problem is that none of these guys, save for maybe Bruce Brown, really move the needle on defense. And that's kind of a big concern for Denver still. And I think that keeps them from being one of these top teams because obviously we say, defense matters more in the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. I actually think it matters more for the regular season in this instance because, basketball the way it is now, these bad teams can still score, a lot of them. A lot of the bad teams aren't teams that can defend and can't score. They're teams that can score and can't defend.
Yeah.
So Denver, as opposed to, the two teams I obviously have above them, Houston and Oklahoma City, is a team that I could see giving up 125 points to the Washington Wizards and losing a game, right?
No,
I don't see Oklahoma City losing a game to the Washington Wizards because they're just that good defensively. And the same is true of the Houston Rockets. But Denver, I think, is going to have probably the best offense in the West. I think Nikola Jokic is going to continue to play the way he's been playing, which is like a top 2 guy in the world, top 3, depending on your perspective. I just don't think they really did anything to shore up their defensive issues, which was definitely present last year. Jonas Valanciunas is not this great defensive center off the bench. He's another guy who will contribute on the boards and offensively.
Yeah. I think he'll be most valuable when Jokic isn't playing in a game, like if he is rarely hurt.
It'll be really interesting to get a full year of their head coach and see what he can do.
Yeah,
but he doesn't have to do much. He's got Nikola Jokic.
And then also, hopefully, Deron Holmes can show something.
Yep.
He had some promise.
That's kind of the wild card.
He got hurt the second he came into the NBA, which sucks.
But,
Cool. Yeah, you kind of said everything. I have the Nuggets at 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait, did I talk about
You did 3? Not talk about your 3.
No, I think I did.
Oh, no, you talked about the Clippers. Yeah, the 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the Nuggets at 2. Everything you really said. I mean, we know how good they are. Yeah. Actually, at first, for some reason, I had the Nuggets at 1 and the Thunder at 2. And like just during the pod, I'm like, why do I have this? I'm gonna switch it. That's stupid. Because the Thunder. I mean, we can talk about just the rest of the West. The Thunder are literally the exact same team. Literally, it was supposed to be a little bit different with Nikola Topic, and Topic got hurt. They drafted Thomas Sorber. Sorber got hurt. The one wild card, and this is a guy I've believed in for a couple of years now, but I think he'll finally actually get playing time. Ousmane Dieng. Apparently, he's actually looked good in the training camps and in preseason, and I think they're going to play him a little bit. But besides him, hopefully, AJ Mitchell gets a little bit more of a role. But besides that, like it's going to be the exact same team, and growth isn't linear. I'm not going to say that Chet and J-Dub are going to take some huge jump, but they're going to be a little bit better. They're going to be a little bit better, and that's enough. They're going to probably win, maybe not 68 games or whatever they won last year, but they'll probably win at least 60 for sure.
I think so. Yeah,
because I mean, like there's still a bunch of young guys, and they're still gonna. Maybe they'll try a little bit less in the regular season, but what made them so good is how pestering they were defensively.
Oh yeah,
I mean, it was like it was probably the second greatest defense of all time.
Yeah, like this team has finished first in the West the last 2 years. Last year by a wide margin. They had one of the best defense. They're just the same team. Barring an injury, they're going to be just as good because they're not one of those teams that's like getting older and that's going to impact them. No, all of their best guys are young. Yeah,
Chet only played like 30 games.
Yeah. So if Chet's healthy, they could be even better, which is crazy. But yeah, no, I The Thunder, unfortunately, there's not a lot to say about them, which you wish
they're so
because
good.
they're
They
so
just
good.
won the
They're just
championship.
so good and they're so consistent. I mean, they're exactly who we were like Boston. We thought Boston was going to be last year, but they're even younger and they're even better. So,
and then we didn't talk. You didn't talk about the Rockets.
yeah, the number 2 team. So you had the Nuggets. I have the Rockets. So the reason I have the Rockets at 2 is, I know they lost Fred VanVleet, and I know they don't have Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks anymore. So their depth hurts, and that hurts for the regular season. They're definitely built for the playoffs. Amen Thompson is not a guy who has shown a lot of like shooting capability, even though he's shown everything else pretty much.
He did make a pull-up 3 on the Hawks. That kind of pissed me off. Like,
I mean, if he could add that to the game, that'd be huge. Jabari Smith Jr. is another guy who's like good on offense. Şengün, obviously, really good player. But the reason why I have the Houston Rockets at 2 is because it's Kevin Durant. I was trying to think about a different way to say it, a better way to say it. It's Kevin Durant.
KD's still a top 10 player.
KD is still a top 10 player.
It's crazy how like people talk about LeBron's longevity and Steph's, and KD's is just as good and not talked about as much, where he is still 26 points per game, elite efficiency, still a good passer, still all that.
Still a good rebounder, not a cone on defense.
No, the only thing that kind of concerns me is I don't think he is good enough to take that step where he's averaging like 30, 32 in a playoff series. Yeah. But he has other guys.
I don't think I think where he's lost it is taking guys off the dribble.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like getting past guys. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I watch clips of him trying to get past someone. It's like, yeah, you kind of.
But he can still shoot over.
But he's still shooting over him.
Yeah.
In fact, he's better at shooting over him now, I think. He's gotten better at that, where it makes up for that lack of actual creation.
Yeah.
But
I just, Kevin Durant's healthy. Rockets are the second best team in the West. And they might even threaten the number 1 seed, but I just don't see Oklahoma City giving it up.
No, I think there might be like a 10-win gap. I really.
But, yeah,
right,
that's the predictions. That's all of them.
Yeah.
Now, little quick round. Hot takes.
All right.
Yeah. Get into it. So, you want to start with yours?
Let's do it. So, my first hot take is, and I don't know, I'm not even going to say it's necessarily a hot take, but it's just something I think. I think Anthony Davis should be an expected 30-point per game guy and should actually be treated like a superstar. And as you were saying, like, yeah, sometimes he's going to miss some games, but when he's on the court,
he's incredible.
He's a top 10 guy. Or I've said a lot of
guys. How many guys? Yeah, I was about to say, how many guys? What? We've got like 15 top 10 guys in the NBA.
There is 15 top 10 guys, but 5 of them end up being hurt a bunch. So they don't actually end up.
And it's like, who's like Tatum is hurt this year. So are you calling him a top 10 guy?
Yeah, Tatum's top 10. So yeah, he's hurt.
So he's hurt. So it's like, yeah.
Okay, so maybe top 15, whatever. But we haven't seen AD alone for a full season since he was on the Pelicans, and he was like a 30-point per game guy then. And
alone Davis.
Alone. He was even the scoring in the NBA wasn't even as much when he was on the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Not that it's inflated.
And he was still averaging like 28 a game.
Yeah. So I think he should be a 30-point per game guy and should be like all NBA first team, maybe second, whatever. But just that's the reason I have the Mavericks so high is I'm just high on Anthony Davis. I think he's legit still that guy.
It's not crazy.
Not too hot.
Not too hot. I don't know if this one's. I'm starting with my like simmering take. I don't know if this is a hot take. Okay. Devin Booker will make an All NBA team this year, so even third team. So he did not make one last year. I don't know when the last time he made one was. I think it might have been a couple years since he's made one, but I think this year with more opportunity and more agency over his offense, I think he will make an All NBA team this year, and I'm going to look really stupid if he made one last year, but I'm 90% sure he didn't.
No, he didn't. He was third team 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, sharing it with KD. Now he's not going to be with KD. I actually agree with that. I think he will be. Also because he'll probably play games.
Yeah.
Actually, unless I'm right and they're the 14 seed, he might start sitting so that they get a good pick if they have their own. Maybe they don't even have their own draft pick, though. I don't know.
I doubt they do, honestly.
But yeah, not crazy. You know what? I'll give my this one also isn't too crazy. I'll save my hottest take for last. I think Şengün actually makes All NBA. I'm a true Şengün believer.
I don't dislike that at all. I think I agree with that too.
I think people will understand how good defensively he is. Playmaking wise, he's going to have a huge responsibility with no Fred VanVleet. Him and KD, and then Amen Thompson. Those three will have huge playmaking responsibilities. So he's probably going to average even more assists, and then hopefully even more points as well. I'm bought in on the Şengün hype. When I'm not gonna lie. Especially, being such a Chet fan, going to so many Chet games, I was kind of a Şengün hater because they're centers in the same draft class. But I'm bought in.
Yeah,
he's better than Chet.
He's great. He's amazing. My second hot take, moving to the rookies. It's kind of a two-parter. Going to our hometown team, the Utah Jazz. Walter Clayton Jr. will make first team All-Rookie, and Ace Bailey will not.
I don't like that. I think okay. So I'll go ahead and give my hot take because it's kind of along those lines. I don't think Dylan Harper is going to make All-Rookie first team. I think,
and you know what? I actually don't disagree because he's playing with Wemby and Stephon Castle
and De'Aaron Fox and all these guys. You know, just real quick. I mean, we can. When we do our awards predictions, we're not going to give every single award. So who's the 5 All-Rookie guys? Just top of the head.
Walter Clayton Jr., Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, like no Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper, really?
VJ Edgecombe.
Okay.
I'm trying to think.
Probably agree.
Now, this is going to be a weird one. I don't know if everyone... But I think Igor Demon? Yeah, Demon. With the amount of probably run he's going to get, his counting stats are going to be good. And a lot of the time, people just pay attention to counting stats when it comes to these rookies.
Yeah.
So those 4... Do you mind pulling up the draft real quick?
Trey Johnson's in this.
Trey Johnson? Oh, I love Trey Johnson. Yeah, Trey Johnson. That's my 5th.
Okay.
So
I'll probably give... Okay, I'm going to go Ace Bailey. I'm going to go Cooper Flagg, not in that order. I think I'm going to agree with Edgecombe. I kind of want to say Con Knuppel, but I'm going to go Trey Johnson as well. And then a 5th? Like, what's like a wild card 5th that could just...
Noah Senge.
Not Noah Senge. I'll tell you that much. I mean, crap. I might have to just go... Do you think Con Knuppel starts?
For the Hornets?
They have Colin Sexton. I don't know who they
I think even if he doesn't start, he could still put up first.
Yeah, give me Con Knuppel. I think he's like an NBA ready guy. We're like, he's not going to be a top 5 rookie in 5 years. Yeah. But first year.
And that's kind of how I see Walter Clayton Jr. Like, he's a guy who just had an amazing March Madness run. He's an older guy. Ace Bailey is one of those guys who's like could be really, really good. I think he'll be one of the top guys out of this class eventually. So I'm not hating on Ace Bailey at all. But he's a guy whose game, those shooters, like those tough shot makers, their games don't usually immediately translate to the NBA.
No.
They usually have a tough time immediately translating. Whereas Walter Clayton Jr. is a point guard. He's going to get to the basket. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. He's going to put up good numbers. And he's also a scorer, right? And, regardless of whether it's indicative of who's actually the best rookie or not, these all-rookie teams are often based around counting stats. And I just think Walter Clayton Jr.'s will be pretty good.
No, I could definitely see it. The only thing that's standing in his way is like Isaiah Collier minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
We'll see how but even Collier wasn't really that, like playmaking wise, he was great. Everything else, not really. So yeah. I could easily see Walter Clayton Jr. Starting by the end of the season over Collier. So.
Especially if there ends up being a situation where the Jazz are like, not anywhere near the playoffs and they just start benching guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, wait, did you have one more take?
I got one more.
Okay.
I got my last one. And this is the hottest take you will ever see. Zion Williamson will play more than 70 games this year. Which it doesn't sound... I mean, it's like, whatever. Yeah, Zion doesn't play a lot, but he's never played over 70 games. He's played 70, and that's the most games he's ever played in a season. So I'm basically saying I think he'll play the most games he's ever played in his career this year.
Wait, when he played 70, though...
He only averaged like 22
might have been
a game.
Season.
No.
Was that not...
It was 22, 23. 21, 22.
Oh, really? He played 70? Oh, I think that's, when he played the whole season and then got hurt in the play-in. Right. Oh, man, that sucked. Yep. He had 40 in that game, by the way.
He sure did.
But I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna hope. I'm gonna pray.
I hope.
I'm gonna hope. I think he'll probably be in the 60s. Even 50s would be way more than what he normally does. But I'm not rooting for 50. Yeah, I want 60s or above, or 65 is enough for an award. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not something I can agree or disagree with. It's just kind of luck of the draw.
Hopefully.
But, yeah. All right. So that was a pretty long pod. That was our predictions and our hot takes. And we didn't get too into it with our hot takes, but there's not really a need to. I think our takes might have been hotter in the East.
I think so. I think there was more to talk about.
But we talked about the teams more here in the West.
So
especially those bottom feeders, because the East there's nothing to talk about with those bottom feeders.
No, just get them out of the way.
Yeah, and then we disagreed a lot more on these.
Oh yeah, I think we disagreed more spot to spot on this one. For sure.
Yeah.
In the East, I feel like there was more disagreement around like the central teams, because in the West, it's like who's good is who's good and who's bad is who's bad. Even though we had some like big gaps, right?
Yeah.
Generally, the West is just so close that you're like, how mad can I be at you for putting this team even 6 slots ahead of me?
It really is
just
like
that
injury.
It's just that close. Like who gets hurt? That's basically it.
Versus the East, it's not really that way. It's just who's good or who's not. All right. Well, yeah. If you guys enjoyed, like the video, please. Helps us a lot. Comment like who had the hottest take. Because if I had to guess, like technically according to Vegas, I think your Clipper, like you having Clippers as the 11 seed is like the hottest thing.
Probably, yeah.
Because 3 seed, they're projected for like 48 games, so 3 seed isn't crazy. But all right. Or wait, no, Grizzlies. I think my Grizzlies might have been. I don't know. But yeah, comment what do you think the hottest take was, and then subscribe if you want to. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's up to you.
Whatever.
But
sure.
I can't wait for this season.
Oh,
I really can't. We're gonna do one more pod for awards. And then we might talk about a little bit more after the awards because I don't think we'll spend a whole hour and a half on awards. No. But then the season starts, and that's when, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then consistency will come real soon. This dude's moving in with me. So
yeah,
bro.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything to say? Any closing remarks?
Comment your favorite NBA jersey that you want to see brought back for the season as a throwback.
Yeah.
Right down there, right?
I think I'll even comment it.
There.
I want to think about my answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because, the Sixers brought theirs back, and what was the other team?
Sixers and, I don't know. I've just been watching the NFL, obviously, and a lot of teams brought back their throwbacks. Like the Seahawks and the Buccaneers both played a game where they were wearing their throwback jerseys, and it looked sexy. So I would love to see the NBA do something similar.
I would too. All right, peace out.